is the biggest game console in the world actually destroying it? And then we take a look at the story of a mother who starts to notice that her child is acting a bit differently. And while she's trying to figure out what's causing this change, she actually reveals to all of us that sometimes the danger is already inside the house. Today on Dead Rabbit Radio.
Actually, I'm a lot freaked out.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. Hope you guys are having a great day too. I hope you guys are having tons of fun doing whatever you're doing, and I hope you guys had an awesome weekend as well. We got a lot of stuff to cover today, so first off, running into Dead Rabbit Radio Command, everyone get on your feet and give it up for one of our legacy Patreon supporters, Callum Frazier. Woohoo, yeah, wee, haha, yeah. You're like, is something different? Something wrong? Callum's walking in, he's like, it looks weird in here. Does my voice sound different? I'm actually recording this episode at 4 in the morning. I'm trying out a new thing. I'm trying out something new. Trying to record earlier and when it's not so hot. Jason, when'd you go to bed? 2 in the morning? You sound exhausted. No, actually, no. I'm like all dressed. I'm ready to go to work. After I record this, I'm gonna head off to work. No, I'm like energized. I just think like the temperature in the room, humidity and all that stuff, air pressure. And I sound different, and I might be getting sick, but anyways, it could be all of that stuff or none of it. Maybe you guys don't hear anything. Maybe it's all in my head. But Callum is one of our longtime Patreon supporters of Dead Rabbit Radio. That is why he is going to be our captain, our pilot of this episode. If you guys can't support the show financially through the Patreon or the merch store, I totally understand. I really do. Just help spread the word about Dead Rabbit Radio. That helps out so much. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know. Dead Rabbit Radio is your favorite paranormal show. That is how you can help the show grow. Okay, Callum, let's go ahead and get this party started. I'm going to toss you... Oh, here's something I just came up with. Brand new vehicle. It's the bunny bed. I'm going to go back to sleep until work and record this later. No. Callum, I'm going to go ahead and toss you the bunny boogie board. Everyone get on this big flat piece of driftwood I found as Callum surfs us all the way out from Dead Rabbit Radio Command to a house in Anywhere, USA. This is a surf music, right? You're like, I thought it was a boogie board. Same thing. Woo! Cowabunga. Callum boogies us all the way out to this house. We're about to take a look at this story. The year is 2020. November 2020, to be more specific. This was a big year, well, for the world, because COVID was ravaging across the planet, but also for the gamers. More so for the gamers, really. I think if any point in time was more specifically designed, was more perfectly designed for a gamer, it was the lockdowns. I gotta stay home for 6 weeks. Oh no, whatever will I do? Oh, I'm gonna play all these games and download more games and use my stimulus check to buy a new system, all that stuff. I remember when the lockdowns first happened, I was like, oh no. I mean, I actually was like, oh no, I wonder what's going to happen. I've never lived through anything like this. Everyone was worried, especially in the early days, because we had no information. I was still putting the show out from day to day, but I said, you know what? I have all this free time now. I'm going to start playing some games that I haven't had any time to play, so I started playing State of Decay 2. I'm driving through empty streets. A mysterious disease has conquered humanity. Every so often I get out of my car and beat people to death with a baseball bat. Yeah, I only played the game for maybe like 2 or 3 hours the entire lockdown. I was like, I don't know if this is a game I should be playing now. I don't know. This might actually become a documentary soon. I couldn't find any fun in that game. I think I ended up just going back to Minecraft like I normally do. I ended up playing it and beating it years later, but... And this time period was even doubly so perfectly designed for PlayStation fans because in November 2020, that was when the PlayStation 5 dropped. So people were buying it. If you could get it right, you really had to get lucky. And that's where this story starts. We're about to meet two brothers. We have Adam, who's the oldest of the two, and then Paul, who's the younger one. And they still live at home. They're not like super old. It's not like an 80-year-old and a 78-year-old. But, you know, late teens, early teens, around there. One of them can drive. Adam can drive, so we know it's probably like 18, 19 for him. They live at home. They were able to get a PS5. So they were sitting on cloud nine. They were buying their games for it. They're having a lot of fun. One game in particular that they really wanted was the Spider-Man Miles Morales game. So when that came out, they're like, dude, we really lucked out being able to get a PlayStation 5. Now this is the new odd game. Do you think we can get it? Yeah, come on, Adam, we can do it. They found a copy of Spider-Man Miles Morales for the PS5 on the Facebook Marketplace. It's probably stolen. Honestly, if they're selling it on Marketplace already, probably a stolen one. It just came out that same month. Anyways, Adam and Paul, they go, dude, let's get it. We're going to get it. So they ended up buying it. They drive out to pick up the Spider-Man Miles Morales game. Yes, we got it. We'll be web slingers in no time, Paul says. Adam drives back to their house. Paul's carrying the game. Adam is carrying the car keys. And when they walk in, Paul goes, up, gotta drain the main vein. But after that, Venom better watch out. Paul throws the Miles Morales game onto a chair that is sitting in their foyer. You know, we all do that. I have a place where I put a bunch of stuff. I have to stop doing that because it ends up becoming a big pile. But you throw stuff and then the idea is you'll pick it up later. If it's just one video game, that's probably pretty easy. I have like piles of stuff. But anyways, Paul walks in, he throws the PS5 game onto the chair in the foyer to use the restroom. Adam walks straight to the kitchen to drop the keys off in this little container, this little dish where they keep all the keys. Very fastidious family, I'd say. Attention to detail. You're like, Jason, all they did was put the keys away. I don't even do that. I don't have a place for my keys. They go on top of my fridge, which is also a pile of things. I'm constantly like, where are my keys? Where are my keys? Zombies are attacking. Adam walks out of the kitchen around the same time Paul is coming out of the bathroom. And that's when he hears Paul go, hey, dude, where'd you put the game, man? Adam goes, what? What are you talking about? I didn't touch it. I was in the kitchen putting the keys away. Well, dude, the game's gone, Paul exclaims. Sure enough, the PS5 game, Spider-Man Miles Morales, is no longer sitting on the chair in the foyer. Adam and Paul were the only people in the house at this time. Now, that's not the end of the story, right? You're like, oh, Jason's really having a hard time getting content. An item goes missing in a house that has teenage boys in it? Oh my God. Somebody call the Ghostbusters. I'm not done yet. Because that's typical. You put something somewhere, you know you put it somewhere, you go to look for it, it's gone, and then 20 minutes later, an hour later, days later, you find it somewhere else in the house, or you never find it again. We do wonder how much of that is human forgetfulness and how much of that is paranormal. Probably a small amount is actually paranormal. Most of it is human forgetfulness. But let's keep going with this story, because this story has a bigger chain to it. It's not just this. They look all over for this game. And Paul is adamant, I just put it down on the chair, went to the bathroom. You know, they checked the bathroom. Well, I didn't touch it. I went into the kitchen, put the keys away. They're checking the kitchen. They're checking all over the house. Well, the first level of the house. This is a 2-story house. And once they realize they cannot find the game, how frustrating would that be? You just bought this game. You have to stop the Green Goblin from destroying Metropolis or wherever. Then they go, well, you know, like, we are searching everywhere. Let's search upstairs too. Because there's a chance that one of us somehow took the game upstairs, because it's nowhere down here. At a certain point, you're like, I'm sure you would check the car again. Maybe one of us walked upstairs and forgot about it. And Paul's like, I was peeing. I think I would remember he's walking up the stairs peeing everywhere. Whatever. Yeah, that probably didn't happen, but let's go check. They go upstairs. They start looking around. They go into the room with the PS5 in it, and sitting there with all the other PlayStation games that they've purchased, sitting right on that pile, is Spider-Man Miles Morales. Adam goes, we have no idea how it got up here. Like, zero clue. The most logical answer is that one of us carried it up there and came back downstairs in that short amount of time and then completely forgot about it. Adam goes, I know I didn't do it. Paul says he didn't do it. He could be pranking me, but again, he was like, what would be the point of that prank? I mean, pranking your brother is always funny, no matter what it is, but Adam goes, I didn't do it. There's always the chance that I did it and forgot about it, because what's the alternative? A ghost did it? No reported hauntings at this house before or since? Glitch in the Matrix? Well, that's an interesting one, because longtime listeners of Dead Rabbit Radio may remember an episode we did a long time ago. This is such a weird one. There's this old barn, and the guy says, we went into it. It looks like no one had been in there for years, if not decades. Everything was covered in dust. It was filthy. This kid, he's about 11, 12 years old. He's rooting around in these boxes, and he finds a brand new copy of Final Fantasy VIII. He said there was no house attached to this barn. In fact, the barn was in the middle of a field, and he was shocked. He'd wanted this game so bad. It was for the PlayStation 2, and it had just come out. So we have a brand new copy of Final Fantasy VIII. I don't know if it was shrink wrapped, but it shouldn't have even been there in the first place. And here he is, he's holding it in this barn. He took it, right? He took it home, he played it. Now, decades older, when he posted the story online, he goes, I really don't know what to make of that story. It almost feels like a glitch in the Matrix. Something's going on with the simulation. When we covered that story a long time ago, I said that was possibly paranormal. That was the name of the episode. I go, I don't know, that's such a weird story. It's not impossible. And we kind of said this is an event, and we continued on with this series. Now I came across this story, and again, for the game to move from downstairs to upstairs in its proper location with the PlayStation 5, you either have to have one or both of the brothers completely lose their memory for a very short amount of time, or it's possibly paranormal. And you go, Jason, maybe pranks, maybe there's some guy living in the ceiling, watching them with cameras, doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and he snuck out, he thought it'd be funny. It doesn't have to be paranormal. Let's take a look at this story. We don't have a date for the story, but we do have a location, Seattle, Washington. We're about to meet a young man. We don't have his name, we'll call him Jacob. He's walking to his car late one night, and he's a little on edge, because this is an area he doesn't know very well. But, he safely gets back to his car, breathes a sigh of relief. Another night survived in the lawless city of Seattle, Washington. Where are our superheroes? Phoenix Jones, Phoenix Jones, you abandoned us at our time of greatest need. No. He sobs quietly for the loss of Seattle's superhero community. Then he wipes his tears away, turns the car on, and that's when the electrical system in the vehicle starts acting up. The interior roof light starts flickering, and then a disc ejects from his CD player. Jacob looks over at it, and he's befuddled. Well, they're just getting started. He's like, what's going on? And it's going to get way weirder. But he's befuddled because he goes, I don't use my CD player in my car. Most people don't. I just got a car that only has a CD player, so I had to go to eBay to buy a bunch of albums that I like. They don't make them anymore. A bunch of Ice Cube albums and Madonna's greatest hits and some letters to Cleo, stuff like that, right? This CD pops out. I take it. I'm like, ooh, another CD for my collection. I have 8 so far. The CD pops out of his CD player, and he's like, what? That's weird. I never used that thing. And he reaches over and he pulls out the CD and he looks at it. It's not a CD. What he's holding in his hand is a copy of Borderlands 2 for the PlayStation 4. I mean, again, you're not going to say it's impossible. Someone possibly could have broken into his car without leaving any evidence at all, hid a copy of Borderlands 2 in his CD drive, which would require him to turn the car on, The thief, or anti-thief, technically, he brings stuff to you and then sneaks away. This non-thief leaves behind Borderlands 2, is able to shut the car off and then get out of the car without leaving any evidence and sneak off into the night. Jacob is now the proud owner of a Borderlands 2 game for the PS4. Oh, and he goes, I don't have a PS4 either. So I didn't do it when I was asleep. I didn't forget about it. I wasn't peeing my way through the house in a brain fog and then walked down peeing down the street. That is typical for Seattle. Peed my way into my car, put my game into the CD player, and then forgot about all of it. Possibly paranormal is the term I used for that first episode, but we have a saying on Dead Rabbit Radio. When we talk about paranormal events, one story, that's an odd occurrence. Two stories that are similar may be a coincidence. But three stories, that's a phenomenon. At a certain point, you have to go, there is something here. And what's very interesting is all three of these stories spread out geographically, spread out over the years. Remember, the Final Fantasy story took place in 1999. Then we have a story taking place in 2020. All of them involve a PlayStation game being found in a place where it shouldn't be. I guess that's the only thing they have in common. I was about to go through a list. But I mean, again, that's enough. We're not hearing stories about Xbox. We're not hearing stories about Switch. The three stories we have are PlayStation related. It would be interesting if other games are doing this too, but I think that this may just be an issue with the PlayStation. Why? I don't know. Something's going on with PlayStation games disappearing and then reappearing in other locations. Somebody is missing their Borderlands 2 game. Someone's like, what? I know I put it in here. I know I put it right in the case. Where is it? They look all over for it. They can't find it because it's in Seattle, Washington, in some guy's CD player. Maybe they're falling from an alternate reality. Maybe they're being teleported around on this Earth. Who knows? Super bizarre story. Callum, let's go ahead and toss you the keys to the world. Famous Carpenter Copter. We're leaving behind the PlayStation. Someday its mysteries will truly be unraveled. Actually, now that I think about it, isn't that a whole thing about Chris Chan? Oh no, that was the Dreamcast. Chris Chan thought that the Dreamcast logo was a portal into another dimension. I'm sorry, I'm getting my video game conspiracies mixed up. I'll put that episode in the show notes. Callum, we're leaving behind the insane world of the PlayStation. Why don't you fly us all the way out to a bathroom in a seemingly ordinary house? We're headed all the way out to this house in the suburbs. We're about to meet a mother. Let's call her Juliet. We don't have the real names. She's mother of a 10-year-old who we will call Sam. Sam loves to take baths. It's something that he's always loved. Me first, Mommy. Time for Sam to bathe. He sits down in the bathtub and he turns on the bathtub water. Oh, that's a little too cold for Sammy. Add a little bit of warmth to it. Ah, yeah. That's the life. And he's floating around in his bathtub. Probably not floating. You're like, how big is his bathtub? How small is he? You know, bathtubs are designed for adults, so a kid can just be like, oh, dude, this is super relaxing. Sam loves taking baths. He's always loved it, in fact. Juliet says when she was pregnant with Sam, she felt this urge to bathe all the time. Oh, baby in my belly. You want to take another nap? Not a nap. I might have woken up too early to record this episode. Oh, baby in my belly. Time to take a bath. And Juliet would get in the bath and she'd be washing herself up. And then she'd get out of the bathtub, dry herself off, and she'd be going about her day. And then all of a sudden she'd be like, ooh, somebody needs a bath again. It's probably me and my baby. The baby in my womb. She goes, when I was pregnant with him, I would take 2 baths a day minimum. And that's not a behavior that she had before being pregnant with little Sam. She kept wanting to take baths all the time. And then when she gave birth to him, the urge faded. Now she takes baths. I don't remember the last time I took a bath. Wait a second, what? No, I take showers. I don't remember the last time I took a bath, honestly. It's been that long. I honestly believe that bathtubs are false. They are sold to us as something that they are not. Bathtub, think about it, anytime you see a bathtub on television, what are people doing? They're up to their neck in water. You're like, or bathing, Jason, or washing themselves, or getting killed by Freddy Krueger. Good example. Thanks for bringing that up. Freddy Krueger, in that movie, the young lady, she's taking a bath, she's in the water up to her neck. Every movie, they take a bath, the water's up to their neck. They're slouched down. That is not real. When is the last time you took a bath where you were able to submerge your entire body up to your neck? We are being lied to. I'm 100% serious about this. This is not a bit. We have been lied to our entire lives. No bathtubs outside those of the 1% of the ultra rich. Nobody. I don't even think Elon Musk has a bathtub that he can go up to his neck in. Maybe him, okay. He buys one now. He's like, listen to this podcast. He's like, oh, that's right. I don't have one. That's weird. We've all been lied to by Big Bathtub. They make baths look super cool in movies and television. When's the last time you saw any piece of media where you see someone in a bathtub and the water comes up to their belly button? Right? If I really, really force it, I can maybe get the water up to my... What's that thing in the middle of you that you punch people in so they can't breathe anymore? My diaphragm. I can probably get the water up to my diaphragm. And you go, Jason, maybe you're just a big guy, which is true. You go, maybe you've always been around small bathtubs. That's not true. I've been around a ton of bathtubs in my life. Ton of bathtubs. And I used to, when I would go to a hotel, I'd be like, oh, finally I can take a nice, comfortable bath. The water will go up to my neck like I saw in all the movies and the television shows. So guess what, guys? Most hotels don't even have bathtubs anymore. They just have showers. I've never been in a bathtub where the water went up to my neck, and I can almost guarantee none of you have either since you were 10. And the way, I understand why they show that in movies, because they can't show boobs. Because in real life, everyone is just sitting in their bathtub looking completely miserable and sad because the water doesn't cover all of them. You're sitting there, the water comes up to your diaphragm, and your boobs are showing, and they can't have that in movies. But I understand that. But don't lie to me, too. They should have a disclaimer at the beginning of the movie saying no boobs will be seen. The bathtubs are artificially large. I'd be like, oh, that explains that. But they don't. They lie to us. But Sam's still in the good era of bathtub bathing. Because he can, like, swim around in it. He can put his head underneath it. He can put his head under the water. You know, he's dying. He's like, oh, it sure is fun being a 10-year-old boy. Skin turned blue. He's the perfect bathing age. And please don't clip that. Please don't clip that. Michael Jackson's like, ooh, my favorite podcast. 5 stars. Hee hee. Anyway, so Sam likes to take baths. He loves to take baths. But recently, and we're talking like early 2025 recently, Juliet, you're like, oh, I totally forgot about there's a mom in this story. I was like, where's this going? Juliet, because she doesn't bathe her son anymore. You know, for years and years and years, she would wash him. Eventually, the kid starts taking the baths on its own. That's where we're at now, because Sam's 10. Well, Juliet started to notice that Sam was reluctant to take baths. She's like, that's interesting. He always loved baths. Why doesn't he enjoy bathing now? But then one day she's walking by and she hears Sam in the bathroom, and he's almost on the verge of tears. Oh, why won't this work? Ugh. Oh, come on, man. I just want to take a bath. Oh, no, not y'all. Oh, this sucks. I hate this. Bath time is for losers. Juliet's like, what? So she knocks on the door. Hey, honey, what's going on in there? And he goes, Mom, I can't get the bathtub to work. Well, I can get the tub to work. It's holding in the water. That is what it's designed for. But the faucets, they're not working. Look at this one is to turn on the hot water. Whoo, chilly. And this one's to turn up the cold water. Oh, burning and burning. They're reversed. This one's always been the way to turn on the cold water. This one's always been the way to turn on the hot water, but they do the opposite now. And I don't know what's going on. I've taken so many bathtubs, and I don't know why the pipes are different now. And Juliet looks at the bathtub faucet and looks over at her son and goes, well, Sam, no, that's always been the cold faucet. And she touches it. This is the cold knob. That's always been the cold knob right here. And this has always been the hot knob. Honey, I think you have them confused. And he's like, no, this one is the hot knob and this one is the cold knob, and they've changed. And Juliet keeps trying to explain, no, they haven't changed, honey. That's always the way it's been. And it's causing Sam to get even more and more frustrated. He just wants to be able to take a bath. This has been going on for a brief period of time. She noticed he didn't want to take baths. And this was what was causing it. He was saying something was wrong with the bathtub. The knobs weren't working. And this is the first time he's openly said something. He would eventually just get it warm and he'd be okay with it, but he didn't have the joy of bathing anymore. But now that she specifically asked what's wrong, he's like laying it all out. The knobs are different. And it's super frustrating to me. I just want to take a bath, but I can't get it to work the way it should. And she keeps saying, no, honey, the knobs are the same. They've always been this way. It's always been like this. Juliet says it doesn't make any sense that he's having this problem. Sam has taken so many baths in this same bathtub, including a lot before he was even born. He should know what knob is hot and what knob is cold. But she's kind of puzzled by it. Then she starts to notice other things about Sam, though. Sam used to be kind of a get out there dude. He was out there, as much as a little guy can be. I'm not saying he's hobnobbing all the social parties in town, but his personality's changed. She uses the term muted. It seems that he's just a little quieter, not just in speaking tone, but his overall personality. Juliet says little Sammy's become a bit of an introvert. Other people notice this as well. Other people who know Sam start to notice he's acting a little bit differently. Now, you go, Jason, is this some gross pedophile story? Because this is really a lot of the hallmarks of it. And it's not. And you breathe a sigh of relief, which is well-deserved, because we cover some crazy stuff on this show. That is not what is going on. Although Juliet does kind of wonder if something happened as well, because she would ask him, is everything okay? Is anything going on? You have any concerns? You don't want to come out and say it, but you kind of want to find out, if something's happened to your kid, because all of a sudden he's acting differently. All of a sudden he doesn't like to do the thing he used to love the most. And a lot of times those can be signs of some sort of abuse or trauma in a child and an adult. But Sam keeps saying, no, everything's fine. Nothing's happened, Mom. Now, it's not some weirdo kid story like that. It's not some perverts preying on this child, which would be the worst possible option. However, what we're about to talk, I don't even think is the second worst possible option, or maybe the third worst. I don't think it's the third worst. Like, oh no, where's this going with this? It's not the worst. It's not the second of the worst thing that can happen to a kid. It's not the third worst thing that can happen to a kid. But it might rank high up there. This is the weirdest post I've read in a long time, and I am really, really afraid that we're going to see a lot more of these. Because what Juliet actually believes is that this is not her original son. Not that he was switched in a hospital room. Not that he was snatched away one day and replaced with a lookalike. she believes this Sam, she honestly believes this. This Sam is from an alternate timeline. She believes that he shifted from one timeline to our timeline, and the universe he used to live in, the knobs were different. He came from a reality where the hot knob was on this side and the cold knob was on this side. And something happened to that Sam, and he was put into our reality. A Mandela effect on a household level. Quote, the reason I'm thinking he was the one who shifted and not me, this is what Juliet's writing. Quote, the reason I'm thinking he was the one who shifted and not me is because everything and everyone else in my reality is the same. He is the only difference. And others notice his difference as well. Unquote. The Mandela effect is so widespread, this conspiracy theory. I don't even know if you could I guess it's a conspiracy theory because we don't know what is causing it. I think a lot of it is bad memory. We've covered the Mandela effect a ton of times on this show, but I believe some of it is authentic. And it's mainstream. People talk about the Mandela effect openly now. You go to a bookstore where there's a children's book section, or you talk to anyone, you don't have to spend your day doing this. You might have other stuff to do. Talk to someone who works at a bookstore that has a children's section and ask them, hey, I just have a question. I'm not here to buy any books. I'm just here to take up your time. How often do you hear a conversation back where the kids' books are about the Berenstain Bears? Any clerk who's worked in a bookstore with a children's section long enough will go, oh, that happens like pretty often. I have a couple friends who do work at bookstores. And the first time they ever heard of the Mandela effect was they kept hearing bits and pieces of conversations, different people coming in at different times being like, hey, dude, you want to see something weird? Dude, what's the name of these books? And they'll be like covering it up. And they'll be like, I don't know, Curious George. And they're like, oh, don't get me started on Curious George and his tail missing. We'll be here all day. No, the books with the bears. Oh, that's the Berenstain Bears. Aha! It's not, look. Berenstain? What? I don't remember that. I know. These conversations will go on and on. Actually, I had a friend who worked at a bookstore, and I was at her bookstore, and we were in the children's section, and I go, hey, you want to hear something weird? And she goes, let me guess. The books, the Berenstain books. I was like, oh, you know that? She's like, yes. I hear people talking about it a couple times a month. It's casual conversation now. And the thing is, it's so popular because so many people forget things, or they half hear things, or they hear the parody SNL version more than they hear the original. That's where you get Luke, I am your father versus no, I am your father. But Berenstain Bears, that's how I remember it. I would always bet money and die on the hill. It was not the Berenstain Bears, because we'd be calling them the Buttstain Bears, and that joke would have just lasted our entire childhood. But here's the thing. I'm willing to go, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am. I have memories of those books. Those are my favorite books. To transfer that global conspiracy theory, or that global just theory that something's happening either with the collective consciousness or reality shifting or whatever, to then put that on your own child. You cannot tell me that will change the way you parent. You think that this isn't your kid? Well, not your original kid, because then you go, well, wait, if this new kid is in this body, then what happened to the kid that was an extrovert? See, that's another thing. If it was just the water, if it was just the knobs, that would be one thing. She goes, hey, I think my kid shifted realities because he thinks the knobs are different. He should know it, the right knobs. It's been that way his entire life, my entire life. I've always known what the knobs were. That would be one thing. But then also going, also he's a different person now. His personality is muted. He's not as outgoing as he used to be. Now it's actually a personality thing. And you can't tell me that As this continues on, as Sam is introverted, as his personality may change, which happens in kids, whether or not they undergo trauma, sometimes it's just growing up. It could be something real and harmful that happened, or it could just be their personality is shifting a bit. They're finding themselves. She's going to be comparing this Sam, the muted introvert, to the fun, exciting Sam that used to be there. And you cannot tell me that won't change the way she parents, because now in her mind, she's parenting a different kid. This is extremely dangerous. This is a few steps away from a story we covered a couple of years ago about the guy who said, my kids are reptilian shapeshifters. They're not my real kids anymore. They're reptilian shapeshifters. And he took them to a beach and executed both of his children with a spear gun. Now, he's locked up. He's in prison. He's not getting out. Hopefully. I'm not saying she's going to do that to her kid. But it's not super far removed from that either. This isn't my child. And she could either take it out on this Sam, being like, I loved you. I used to love you when you were the real you, when you were my Sam. Whatever you are, you're just from another dimension. The kid's all, what? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, if his personality's changed enough that it's noticeable to her and it's not an upgrade. If he used to be introverted and now he's an extrovert, now he's friendly and he's popular and he's always outgoing and he wants to do sports all of a sudden, you go, Jason, I don't know if I'd call that an upgrade. What are you saying that about me? I don't play sports. Boo! I have no friends. Listen, I'm not saying, you know what I mean when I say upgrade. For a parent to have a popular kid, you worry less, I think. I don't have kids. But you're not like, well, I hope he finds a girl someday. Oh, I hope he's able to have friends. You know, because that was my parents. Well, I'm glad that you have a friend because I moved so much. I didn't have a lot of long-term friends. So every time we moved, which was every 2 or 3 years, I had to make friends again, which wasn't super easy for me. People liked me, but I was also kind of just wanted to do my own thing. I kind of wanted to be left alone. And I like that. But for parents, they're like, well, you know, I'm glad. My mom still says that when she meets a friend of mine like Jacob or Sabine or my buddy Jonas or whatever. All of my friends, she'll go, well, I'm glad that you have a friend up there. I'm glad you have such good friends up there. My mom still says stuff like that. All my friends have moved away, right? They don't live here anymore. Well, Sabine's still in town. But you know what I mean? Like my mom, that she still is like, oh, well, because she knows me, I'm a loner. And she doesn't get that I like it. I like having friends too, but if your kid was introverted and all of a sudden started to come out of his shell, started to blossom, that'd be seen as an upgrade. But it's reversed. And you can't tell me she's not going to treat him differently because she doesn't think this is her son. If her son did undergo trauma, that mom would love that boy as much as she did before that. Because she sees it as the same kid who got hurt. This isn't her kid. This is super dangerous. This is so dangerous. And people in the comments, when they were responding to that, they're like, oh yeah, that's happened to me too. One person posted that her daughter all of a sudden started using the word perchance. And the mom goes, well, that's a funny word for you to use. And the daughter goes, that's funny that you say that because Dad the other day said that to me. I use perchance all the time. When I used it in front of him, he goes, well, that's a weird word for you to use. She goes, I use the word perchance all the time. And the mom wrote in her post that she just wants to say, quote, hello, daughter from Parallel Universe. How has life been? And a little crying face emoji. Not crying because she's sad, but crying because she's happy. And then it says, just love them in every timeline. It's okay, unquote. That's not as bad, I guess, right? That last line, you know, I'm going to love you no matter what timeline you're from. But her daughter is just, I mean, I don't think any of these kids are shifting, just so we can be totally clear. I don't think any of these kids are from alternate timelines. She's like, well, my daughter says a different word, and whatever, I'm going to love her whatever timeline she's from. That's an adorable comment. It's a bizarre comment, but adorable. In Juliet's case, she may say that. She doesn't, by the way. She doesn't actually say that. But her child has taken a step back in his personality. He's lost that zest that he once had. And she goes, well, it's because he's from another timeline. And everybody else notices it too. So what's to stop her if they get in a big argument where she throws that in his face? Like a big blowout fight. You're not even my kid. You replaced my kid. You're from another timeline. In a big enough argument, I could see her saying that. Because she's already telling strangers. When he's a rebellious teenager who's still introverted, and they get in a big fight, if she doesn't think it's her son, she will let him know. I hope not, but it's possible, isn't it? You could see it happening. It's so bizarre. I love conspiracy theories. I love fringe theories. I love all of these beliefs. And to be honest, I believe some of them too. But if someone, not only that I loved, not only someone that I knew for a long period of time, but someone whose safety depends on me, you can't mess around with this type of stuff. You just can't. I'm not saying you can't read about it. I'm not saying you can't believe in it. But you can't apply the Mandela effect to your 10-year-old son who, if something goes wrong with you, they get screwed up because they are dependent on you staying sane to provide for them. Juliet can either just forget all of this stuff. Just go, you know what? I got to figure out what's going on with my kid because something is happening for him to change this much. I agree. Let's go to therapist. Let's go try to get some help. Maybe there's something happened he doesn't want to talk to me about. Let's go down this route. See, that's the thing. I don't think she's going to do that. I think most parents would. If you go, hey, did anything happen to you? And the kid goes, no. And you notice things are different about them. Just in the back of your mind, you're thinking, did something happen to this kid? When she's asking him, and she does this thing called play therapy, but he's just saying, no, nothing happened to me, nothing happened to me. If that was your kid, and your kid changed, and you didn't know why, and you were concerned about it, you would try to seek help. School counselors, psychiatrists, psychologists, you're reading books going like, I wonder why he's just changed so forget the whole knob thing. You're like, why is his personality changed? Then you're reading these books, then some of them will go, well, it's natural for a boy when he's reaching a certain age, his personality's changing. Oh, okay. But you would look for an answer. If you already know the answer, oh, no, nothing bad happened to him. I asked him and he said it wasn't. We did play therapy and he didn't say that anything bad happened. And I know he's from another timeline, so that's the end of the mystery. I don't need to take him to a therapist. I don't need to follow up with his teachers at school or his friends or do any more investigation because me and other people have noticed the change, but it's because he's from another dimension. So no counselor can fix that. Super bizarre and dangerous. Especially if something did happen to him and he's still in the crosshairs of somebody that hurt him. I already know what's going on. You're from another reality. I don't have to investigate this anymore. Terrifying. Terrifying. And again, that is just what's happening now. I can only imagine when this kid turns 11 or 12 and starts to become rebellious, how this is going to play out. You're not even my son. My real son was a good boy. Who are you? Where are you from, Sam? Where are you from? I'm not saying she's going to kill her kid. I'm not even going to go off on a conspiracy cap. Let's play this out. I don't think she's going to hurt her child physically. But emotionally, you can't tell me that there won't be a difference in how you interact with your child if you truly believe that is not your child. Absolutely disturbing story. But the truly scariest part is that I'm sure we are going to see dozens of these stories over the coming years. Juliet, I believe, won't hurt Sam. But I can't guarantee that none of the parents of these other children that they believe that their kid is from another dimension, I can't guarantee that none of those kids will be hurt or will be killed by some maniac parent who believes that their child has been replaced by a weaker, lamer, more muted version from another world. I love conspiracy theories. I love talking about conspiracy theories. And I believe in some of them. But I also understand the danger of conspiracy theories. And that danger is even more troublesome when it lives in the same house as you do. How safe can you really feel when you are the conspiracy that your parents believe in? When you are the conspiracy theory your parents fear? DeadRabbitRadio@gmail.com is going to be our email address. You can also hit us up at Facebook.com/DeadRabbitRadio. TikTok is @DeadRabbitRadio. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day, but I'm glad you listened to it today. I've